For as long as I can remember, video games have been a part of my life. It all started with an Italian plumber and Channel 3, and from there, it blossomed along with the video game industry. I was always a kid who was interested in art, science, literature, just knowing things, and that went with me. And as I got older, I realized I wanted to make games. I spent a lifetime playing them. I spent a lifetime criticizing them, critiquing them, wishing this was better or that this game had to this part of this game, and so on and so on, like I'm sure many of you have. I even went as far as to go to school for game design. And things happened along the way after graduation, and I was never able to really pursue that, but the dream stayed alive. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I was always designing from a young age, always drawing, doodling, always getting notes sent from my teachers because I was, instead of paying attention, well, at least they thought I wasn't paying attention, but while I was paying attention, I was doodling and drawing and doing other things. And I was always making little games, drawing little things like that, characters, and so it just made sense that, I'd want to design video games, or at least design something like that. I dipped my toes into it with Rec Room. They had a pretty robust, easy, very similar system to Dreams, and I made some cool stuff. I got really into it, but it was just so limited. I kept hitting walls that would take too much to overcome. With Dreams, I hit walls, but it's not the same walls. I've been able to really actually make my dream. And that's what Dork Souls is. I've been a fan of the genre since I was a kid, because it all started with The Legend of Zelda. That gold cartridge. The sense of an open world with, nothing to hold your hand. No one told you what to do. You had to get rumors. You had to get, stories from older siblings and cousins. There was no internet. And then when I was older, I discovered Dark Souls. And I really always related Dark Souls to an adult Legend of Zelda. If you were going to make the best Legend of Zelda you could, true to the original 2D, then it would be something like Dark Souls. I mean, maybe obviously it would be more like Breath of the Wild now, but if you took the kid element out of it, it's basically, Dark Souls is the Legend of Zelda. So that game's resonated with me for a long time. So I've always had, the idea to kind of replicate things like that. I love that style, that game type. But I've got my own style. Obviously, I like, cutesy horror. I grew up with Tim Burton, so there's always going to be an element of the cartoony, to any of my designs, and I love the juxtaposition of things like, cute and also creepy or macabre, and that's what I was going for. And Dreams has really allowed me to explore that, the whole character design element, the level design, the atmosphere design. I love all of it. The only thing I was never really good at was programming from scratch. But with microchips and, pre-made basic coding done for you, it's a lot easier to grasp the concept of making things do what you want them to do. That said, every time I change something or add something, I always break something, or every time I fix something else, I break something else. But that's just part of game design. That's part of the journey. But for me, it's just all about creating, you know, the same kind of experiences I had and still have when I'm playing video games. Just on a smaller scale, obviously. I have some pretty good ideas of things to do in the future with Dreams, but right now my baby is this, what I'm calling Dork Souls, because it's just basically what it is. But from the top down, I've been designing it. I take a lot of elements from the Dreamiverse. There are a lot of great designers out there who have made some cool pieces of things, and you know, if it already exists, I'm not going to waste my time making it. Might as well use somebody else's. That's what they made it for. That's what it's for. So, you know, and hopefully I'll be able to somehow credit anybody whose pieces I've used, just so that they get credit in the end. But right now I'm just working on making the game. I mean, I've been working on this over 12 hours a day sometimes for the past 2 weeks or so. I bought the game, and in the first 2 days I made the little demo level, and it showed me that I could do what I wanted to do. And then I got to work on making a character that was self-contained, that I could just pop into any scene. And then after I got him working, I started to work on a hub world, get that working, so that there was a central location to test out everything and start designing out from there. And then I started busting out the different levels. I am up to 4 total levels now. I've got at least 2 more that I'm going to make. Those should usually take about a day each. I was able to bust out about basically 3 levels in 3 days, and then tweaking them and everything from there. As of right now, I'm probably about 85-90% done overall. Most of the tweaking on the character and the enemies, and the gameplay mechanics. The hardest thing about making a game, especially when you're doing everything by yourself, like in a scenario like this, is making things work. And then when you do, you have to test it. And then if it doesn't work, you got to figure out why it didn't work and how it's going wrong. And there's been a lot of that, a lot of learning on the go, a lot of watching videos on YouTube, trying to find elements of what I'm trying to do in somebody else's video or logic, and just making it work. The design side was pretty easy for me. I've always been artistic. I have a pretty keen eye for design, and I just go for it. When I went to school, I dabbled in everything there is in game design. We touched on everything. Pretty much excelled at modeling and animating and all the design side. The only thing I had trouble with was, programming, coding. But with Dreams, I'm able to kind of troubleshoot my own way, make things work. I understand it enough to make it work. But design-wise, I can just pop things together, especially if there's pre-made pieces. There's a lot of things people have made that are cool and fit with my design element. And then there's a lot of pieces that I've grabbed that I've been able to adjust or change things, add different logic to it, change the model up a little bit, and added my own animations. I do a lot of my own animations. I like to bring things to life. I spend a lot of time designing the atmosphere of the levels and really making them feel the way they should. I mean, it's a game, you want it to feel like a game. Areas should feel unique. The areas that lead to those areas should feel like they lead to those areas, things like that. There's an overall aesthetic that fits in the game. Nothing feels out of place. There's little touches here and there that kind of, nuances that flow throughout the overall game. but there's also variety. There's a lot that goes into designing a level, and maybe you're more into characters, maybe you're more into just the ideas. I've always been just, the all-around do-it-yourself guy. I went to school, and my plan the whole time was to do it myself anyway, and it just, it didn't happen that way. I found it's very expensive to have everything you need to do everything that Dreams allows you to do. The assets available to you through Dreams are, thousands of dollars in equipment and software if you were to go the do-it-yourself route. Now, obviously, I can't publish this out, but that's not the point. I'm making it to make it for me. It's fun for me to play it. I want other people to enjoy it. I want my kids to enjoy it. Like, I have a 14-year-old son who loves all the Dark Souls. He's platinumed everything From Software has, and I'm part of me tries to, trying to impress him as much as myself. But I want it to be for everyone. That's kind of always been my design motto, I guess, is to design for everyone. Maybe, you have a certain group of people in mind or a category of people in mind, but, you want to make it accessible for everyone. So I try to do that, and finding that balance is difficult. I feel like in this game, I've found the perfect balance of fun and difficulty and atmosphere. I'm working on, different like NPC type elements now. There's, structure to it. But at the same time, I just want it to be, like all the best parts of Dark Souls, like all the bosses. That's what everybody wants to do. You want to go kill something big. So, go from there. But if you've played a game like Dauntless, where all you do is go kill something big, it gets stale real fast. It's no fun. You don't want to just kill the big thing. So finding a way to, like, again, create balance there. And then Dreams itself, the scenes have their own limitations. I found myself reaching limitations on items, designing it out and making the atmosphere before I even hit the point of adding characters and logic and everything I wanted to do. And that became a problem. So, you got to find a balance of managing your assets, balance of managing your gameplay. Everything is about balance when it comes to designing. But this was my dream, so I'm making one. I have others in mind. I have other game types in mind. I have plans to continue working on this one, adding areas and bosses as I go, weapons, things like that. As soon as everything is ironed out as it is now, then I'll start adding new elements, because like I said, every time you add something, you break something else. So, but I've also got other types of games in mind for all audiences, and Dreams will allow me to do that and to explore all of those different elements, from storytelling to cinematics to game design and gameplay and just all of it. And if you're a person like me, this is the place to do it. They give you everything you need. It's like a toy box already filled with toys. They just tell you to bring your imagination. And if there's something you don't know how to do, there's plenty of tutorials in the game, on YouTube. There's plenty of assets, resources for figuring out how to do things that you don't know how to do. Or, you can just tinker with it until you figure it out. That's what I do most of the time. A lot of the times that I can't figure something out, it's because I'm scared to try to do different things until it works. But once you do, you start understanding how things work even better, and next thing you know, you're able to speed through these things. My wife has been watching me these last 2 weeks or so every day, to the point that when I'm not working on it, she's like, "Are you okay? What's wrong? Why aren't you working on it?" But even she's been like, "Wow, you're so much faster at this than you were before." Like, and that's how it goes. The more you do something, you get better at it. And I'm already familiar with the concepts of animating, modeling, sculpting, all working in a 3D space, designing. I'm familiar with all that, setting up lighting and fog and how they work. Like, I messed with all that when I was learning how to 3D model and animate and all that. This game took out all the hard parts and just gave me all the fun parts. So it's easy for me to pop in, kind of have an idea of what my settings are. I know what noise strength is. I know what speed, I know what density does. I know what all these things are when it comes to like fog. I know how to make an atmosphere, pretty quickly because I've done it. And you might not be at that point, which is fine. But my point is, it's just a matter of, messing with the settings, tweaking it a little bit, and seeing what it does, seeing how you like it. Working, like, had I not had the same knowledge base that I started with when I got this game, I would have been spending a lot of time with, I do like I do now. I have a level where I have my character and all of my bosses and enemies that I want to try, and they're just on a big flat plane. That's where I test them out. But I also do that with anything I want to test out. So if I didn't have the knowledge base I had now, I would take a bunch of assets, put them in a little scene, and I would start messing with lighting. I would start messing with the sky, the position of the sun, the brightness, the colors. All those things, just mess with them and see what you like. And, what kind of feelings it gives you. You'll see if you follow this series or play my game, any of that, you'll see that every area has an entirely different atmosphere. It all feels connected yet unique. And, that's from the color of the sky to the ground to the lighting to everything creates atmosphere. And, you just mess around with it. Like I said, I've always had a knack for designing, story writing, appreciating movies and how they create atmosphere in movies, all those elements. So I just happen to be lucky in that sense, and I'm able to put them all together quickly and already have an idea of what works and what kind of things make an atmosphere feel a certain way. But there's no real rules. I mean, it's just, like I said, you mix things together until you figure out what works for you in your design element. But as I'm standing right now, I've got a hub world. I've got 3 extra places you can go, several bosses and enemy types. I've got a working 2-weapon system. You also have a ranged attack, and you collect certain things, souls and remnants of a great flame, and those things allow you to access other areas. I will be building more into this. I will be adding more weapons, more bosses, more storyline. As it is right now, there's really only one kind of quest you can do, and that's to get one of the weapons. Otherwise, it just kind of, it's like Dark Souls. Nothing holds your hand. The plan is to, have it be fun and not hold your hand and require you to explore on your own. It's one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to modern video games, is that either gamers have gotten dumber or weaker, or the game companies have decided to treat us like we are, because it seems like every game, no matter how difficult it is, just really holds your hand and pulls you through it, and it's just not fun. It's not, this isn't 1993, and that's not the best you can do. And so when a game like Dark Souls or Bloodborne came along and it doesn't hold your hand, doesn't tell you anything, it just drops you into this world and lets you figure it out. and that's what this is. And that's what I'm going for, just on a smaller, cuter scale. But I'm really excited about it. I haven't had this excitement for anything in a long time, so, and hopefully it shows. Hopefully people enjoy it, and when it's ready, I'll put it out. Until then, I'm thinking about maybe advertising to do some share play sessions and let some people play while I'm still working on it. But if you're interested, just, you know, leave a comment in the video and go from there. Anyway, if you're still watching, thanks. And I will see you next time in the next design video. And love you, goodbye.